Hello and thanks for joining us on Nationwide. I am Dennis Adigunloye. The nation's history is incomplete without mentioning the former military head of state, Ibrahim Babangida, whose style of leadership contributed to the restructuring of various sectors of the economy. At the book launch of Babangida's biography, A Journey in Service, President Bola Tinubu commended former President Babangida's efforts towards Nigeria's developments, particularly in infrastructure, the economy, and human capital development. President Tinubu acknowledged Babangida's role in shaping modern Nigeria and commended him for his services to the nation. Former presidents and heads of states, including Olusegun Obasanjo, Yakubu Gowon, Abdulsalami Abubakar, Goodluck Jonathan, and some former African leaders, including Nana Akufo-Addo of Ghana, were in attendance. We'll bring you more details of this in our subsequent bulletin. Let's talk business. The federal government is set to breathe more life into the more than 700 industries across Nigeria's industrial sector that are out of business. This is as the Minister of Industry, Senator John Eno, promises more funding, better regulatory frameworks and improved infrastructure. To this end, the Industrial Revolution Worker Group has been inaugurated in Abuja. Benny Adams reports.
This is the surest way for Nigeria to become self-sufficient and an exporter nation. The Naira will be strengthened, and with it, our purchasing power. This is doable, and yes, we can. The work begins here and now.
Amid these quiet lies a spark of hope being ignited. The federal government has just set the stage for a transformative journey.
Our collective success will be measured not in the policies, but in the factories that we reopen.
Some 500 billion was provided for BOI, and then another 500 billion for Bank of Agriculture and all of that. I mean, these are the continuing efforts, to address and to, focus specifically on industry.
The work group mandate is clear. It is to breathe life into the industrial sector, create jobs and stimulate growth, in addition to making Nigeria a manufacturing hub.
It's not only creating an environment that is conducive, but in waking up those more than 700 industries that have been shut for one reason or the other across industrial sectors.
As the journey begins, one thing is certain: the future of Nigeria's industrial sector is bright. In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
In the meantime, the federal government has appointed Stanbic IBTC stockbrokers as the official government stockbroker for a period of 3 years. Nneka Oko reports that the company is entrusted with the responsibility of facilitating trade of federal government bonds.
Stanbic IBTC stockbrokers.
According to the Director General of the Debt Management Office, saddled with the responsibility of the selection, the choice of the new government stockbroker was due to its reputation and diversification as a group. They will be responsible for facilitating the trading of federal government securities in the secondary market, making it more attractive to investors.
There's that small segment, that retail segment that we've been trying to develop from the savings bond and the sukuk. Okay, we know that the FGN bonds market is really for big players. So that segment is important to us. So liquidity, sensitization, workshops, whatever you call it, we need it for that segment of the market.
For the Chief Executive Officer of the brand, who joined virtually, the appointment was a vote of confidence in the company's ability to deliver.
So as much as possible, we are also on board to ensure that this is successful and also to take it forward to the next level.
With their 3-year tenure as government stockbrokers set to begin, all eyes will be on Stanbic IBTC stockbrokers to see how they deliver on their mandate. In Abuja, Nneka Oko, NTA News.
For many young Nigerians, the dream of a better future is often hindered by a lack of skills and job opportunities. But hope is on the horizon as the federal government, in partnership with the World Bank, is investing $60 million into the Nigeria Youth Employment Through Skills Acquisition Fund project. This initiative is set to train 75,000 youths, giving them the skills needed to secure jobs and start businesses. Zenret Dingmun reports.
For 8 months, the government and experts have been working behind the scenes, carefully selecting training organizations capable of equipping young Nigerians with practical, in-demand skills. Now, the project is moving into action with the signing of a memorandum of understanding to ensure trainers deliver real, measurable results.
NISAF looks at using result-based contracting to provide short-duration training for youth. If this model works, it's something that we can push out into the Nigerian system and expand.
Sending people to go and visit their centers. If you say you are training mechanics, do you actually have the facility to train mechanics?
Among those set to benefit are young people from vulnerable communities and persons with disabilities. More importantly, the training comes with legitimate certifications, giving them a competitive edge in the job market.
We train artisans required in the construction industry. We discovered that in the construction industry in Nigeria, we have a skills gap. And I want to assure the World Bank and the ministry that training providers are equal to the tax. We are going to do our best to ensure that we give quality training.
For many, this is more than just a skills program. It's a lifeline in Abuja. Zenret Dingmun, NTA News.
In another development, the Central Bank of Nigeria's Monetary Policy Committee has maintained an unchanged interest rate of 27.50% to rein in inflation. The committee also holds cash reserve ratio and other parameters unchanged. Governor of the Central Bank, Olayemi Cardoso, says the committee is positive that inflation will continue to decline and urges banks to improve liquidity in the foreign exchange market.
That inflation is trending down and is looking positive. All the indices are looking positive. Foreign exchange rate, we all know, has started to trend down and is more or less achieved stability. It's been stable, and we've spoken about the differential in the rates down to less than 1%, which is unusual. I'm sure many people here cannot remember any time when the convergence was so clear.
CBN Governor Olayemi Cardoso. Now, President Bola Tinubu has approved Dr. Xavier Enyekere's appointment as chairman of the National Assembly Service Commission, as well as 12 other members of the commission. Annie Daniels has details.
Until his appointment by President Bola Tinubu as chairman of the National Assembly Service Commission, Xavier Enyekere, an environmental specialist, was the deputy chief of staff to the Senate president. President Tinubu also approved the appointment of 2 commission members from each of the 6 geopolitical zones of the National Assembly. The 12 members are, for the Northwest, Suleiman Othman Hunkuyi, Honorable Yusuf Tubuka; for the Northeast, Aminu Ibrahim Maleh, Lawan Meina Mahmood; while for the North Central, Mark Hamashon Tesu, Salihu Umar Bola Balogun; and for the Southwest, Honorable Taiwo Olukemi Oluga, Honorable Afizi Beza Balogun; while for the Southeast, Honorable Dr. Nana Ozokalo, Festus Ifesinachi OG; and for the South-South, Patrick Giwa and Mary Ebenyong. Like the chairperson, members of the commission shall hold office for a renewable term of 5 years. In Abuja, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
In January of 2024, the federal government flagged off the construction of work on the dual carriage 260-kilometer road from Makurdi to Enugu. This construction will also incorporate a flyover at the Wurukum roundabout in Makurdi, the Benue state capital. Simbiat Agbaji in this report took to the streets of Makurdi to feel the pulse of residents on this development.
A major route to so many parts of the town, and even to link into other parts of Benue State and other parts of the country as well. So I know we are going to have a little challenge, but I know it's going to be for a while.
During Christmas, you will see the hold up here. We will suffer here. We are very happy with the federal government who has taken over to do the flyover for us.
In commencement of the work, the company handling the construction had few days ago commenced the geotechnical survey of the site.
When the minister came to look at what we're doing in Benue State and also kick off the construction of Makurdi 9th Mile Superhighway, he gave us a message from the president. That was an approval for the construction of a flyover at this point.
Then we are here to ensure that we achieve standard. This structure is going to be here for life, let me put it that way.
This exercise is expected to last for 2 weeks, after which other modalities will be put in place for the actual kickoff of the project. In Makurdi, Simbiat Agbaji, NTA News.
Well, Simbiat is standing by at the Wurukum roundabouts, Makurdi, to shed more light on the ongoing geotechnical survey and the socio-economic benefits of the flyover in Benue State. Hello, Simbiat. Just tell us more about this development. More details about this ongoing project over there. All right, we seem to be having some technical challenges connecting with Simbiat. We may get to her a bit later on in the bulletin. For now, let's join our Lagos Network Center, where Adiola is our guide for the next set of reports. Hello, Adiola.
Go a long way in accelerating economic development, as it will guarantee more inflow of funds into the nation's financial institutions. Joel Pokbola reports that experts say expanding the scope of financial inclusion will address most of the teething economic challenges bedeviling the nation.
Nigeria's unbanked population, according to the National Bureau of Statistics, as of December 2024, is said to be around 40 million. Although some of these financially excluded Nigerians reside in urban areas, many of them live in the rural areas. These exclusions are majorly as a result of poverty, lack of access to information, low level of financial literacy, and connectivity problems. The federal government is changing this narrative by setting up a committee to expedite actions towards achieving financial and economic inclusion by providing solutions to the problems.
It will enable us to perhaps be able to reduce some of our interest rates, have better access to a wider range of financial products and services, improve the economy, people will contribute better towards micro pensions, etc. So it's important that it's not just having access for access sake, right? It's important that they use those financial products and services to become more financially resilient, to help them build their businesses, and to help them save for the long term, because money under the bed would not help you in those circumstances.
Agency banking and other digital banking products are essential to drive financial inclusion. Although this is gaining traction, experts believe resolving connectivity issues will help achieve better results.
The connectivity and the infrastructure is available to them. So we know that that isn't always the case, especially quality and affordable connectivity. So having the financial services, having the infrastructure, having the identity are the different things that we need to work on, especially for the rural areas.
The committee set up by the federal government to drive this inclusion is expected to think outside the box to achieve its objectives. In Lagos, Joel Pokbola, NTA News.
Early detection of cancer can play a significant role in reducing the prevalence of the disease, but many Nigerians are still oblivious of the dangers of living in ignorance of cancer, which experts say has claimed many lives worldwide. Again, Joel Pokbola reports that medical experts urged Nigerians to place premium on ascertaining their health status through regular health checks.
Although data by the World Health Organization shows that women have a higher prevalence of cancer, such as breast, ovarian, and cervical cancer, men are not left out, with prostate cancer and other rare types of cancer now prevalent among them. Experts say information and lifestyle modifications are essential in combating the disease.
Because we are seeing cases of cervical cancer, which is probably the biggest killer of women in this part of the world. And for men, it's important that they do a testicular self-examination. They learn to examine their own testicles, at least get an idea of what the normal looks like and feels like, so that when there are changes, you can pick them up very quickly. So for women, we also recommend that they start their self-breast examination.
There are many misconceptions surrounding cancer, but medical experts urge Nigerians to refrain from unwholesome practices in treatment of cancer, which are not scientifically proven, noting that medical solutions are still the best.
We have known all the time that these cancers do exist. We have known. And the truth of the matter is that with regular screening, regular medical checkups, many of these things, we can pick them up very early and sort them out.
In cancer generally, staging is very mandatory to know why you want to treat the patient, your intent, whether you are achieving curative intent or you are palliating the patient.
Subscription to health insurance, medical experts believe, could save costs and reduce the burden of Medicare. In Lagos, Joel Popola, NTA News.
Those are the stories from Lagos for now. Nationwide will continue with Dibabari Sieduma Weke in Port Harcourt when we return from this break.
I am Oluremi Tinubu, the global and national Stop TB champion. Many people have asked why I've chosen to champion the fight against a disease like tuberculosis. My reason stems from a deep personal experience. I once had a friend who unfortunately fell ill and concealed the nature of his sickness until it was too late. Eventually, after he passed, we discovered he had tuberculosis. Sadly, due to the stigma and discrimination surrounding the disease, he would not speak up or seek for help. His death was a painful reminder that we could have intervened and saved a life if only we had known earlier. Tuberculosis is an airborne disease that primarily affects the lungs, but can also impact other parts of the body. Being airborne means anyone, regardless of their social economic status, can contract it. In Nigeria, 1 person dies of TB-related illness every 7 minutes, amounting to 206 deaths every day. Globally, 1 person succumbs to TB every 25 seconds, which is a staggering 3,456 lives lost daily. These deaths are entirely preventable because TB is curable if detected and treated early. If you or someone you know has been coughing for 2 weeks or more, coughing up blood, experiencing night sweats, or losing weight drastically, it might be TB. Please visit the nearest government hospital or primary healthcare center for proper diagnosis and treatment. TB treatment is free in all government and some private health facilities. Let us also remember not to stigmatize or discriminate against TB patients or those who have been treated for TB. Individuals who have been cured of TB cannot infect others. I call on all stakeholders, especially the private sector, to join us in the fight to end TB in Nigeria. Together, we can make a difference. Remember, TB anywhere is TB everywhere. End TB by 2030. Yes, we can.
The federal government.
Come to Port Harcourt.
Governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara, has urged the new General Officer commanding 6th Division Nigerian Army, Major General Eric Emeka, to work with the state government in the fight against pipeline vandalism and economic sabotage. He was speaking when he received the new GOC and his delegation at a courtesy visit in Government House, Port Harcourt. Osinachi Samuel reports.
Emeka took over the 6th Division Nigeria Army as GOC about 3 months ago, hence this visit, which is customary to strengthen the relationship between the state government and the Nigeria Army. The governor, while expressing displeasure over the issues of pipeline vandalism and insecurity, stressed the needs for intentional collaboration to protect critical national infrastructure in the state.
You need us to succeed, and we also need you to succeed. So I'm happy that you're coming here. And I assure you that whatever it is within our power that we can do to make sure that you succeed as the GOC of the 6th Division, we will do for you within our power.
In his remarks, Major General Eric Emeka thanked Governor Fubara for giving the Army the enabling environment to operate.
The task of the division is very easy. It's simple and straight to protection of critical national infrastructure in the maritime and the oil domain, and also to ensure security in the South-South region. That I pledge that we'll give it our utmost attention to ensure that everything is done as expected.
Major General Emeka is the 11th General Officer commanding 6th Division Nigerian Army. In Port Harcourt, Osinachi Samuel, NTA News.
A 3-day training workshop for officers of Federal Ministry of Information focusing on information management and public relations has commenced in the South-South zone. The program aims to enhance participants' communication skills, ensuring effective public engagement and accurate dissemination of government policies. Gabriela Munike reports.
The workshop is organized by the Federal Ministry of Information and Orientation in partnership with NTA. NTA leverages its reputable television college, which has managed the training program over the years. This edition will focus on strategic information management, crisis communication, and combating misinformation. The resource person and veteran journalist Emma Okondo is an expert in government communication. He's expected to lead sessions on digital media strategies, public relations techniques, and transparency in governance.
I'm also excited that the Minister of Information has found it worthy, most auspicious to have a workshop like this to broaden their minds, to expose them to new, practical methods of what we go through.
Speaking at the South-South opening ceremony, the Zonal Director, NTA Port Harcourt Network Center, Dr. Evelyn Wosu, and other stakeholders emphasized the critical role of communication officers in bringing the gap between government policies and public perception.
Information management is very key. And part of the reason why a lot of people you can act without knowing because you don't have sufficient information. And so I think that this program is key and it's coming at a very good time.
In the world of today, everybody is a journalist. Are you doing what journalists are supposed to do? That's why we have a lot of unethical things going about in the air.
The federal government has put in place these strategies to ensure that its policies to the grassroots succeed.
Participants are enthusiastic about the gains inherent in the training, noting that it will equip them with essential skills to manage information more effectively.
They've even gone ahead telling us that just this phone that we are holding can cover a lot of things.
Participants are expected to sharpen their skills in strategic communication to ensure that government policies are well conveyed to the general public. In Port Harcourt, Gabriel Amunike, NTA News.
And that's our offering from Port Harcourt. Is back to Abuja for continuation of the news.
Thanks, Debarbary. Let's now see if we can rejoin Simbiat in Makurdi, who was about to tell us about the Wurukum roundabout there. Hello, Simbiat. What more details can you give us?
Makurdi, the Benue State capital. I am at the Wurukum roundabout where the popular food basket is located. The food basket, which is about to give way for a flyover as a result of the Makurdi Otiko Enugu Dualization Road project. This roundabout you see behind me is strategic because it links Nasarawa, Taraba, Cross River and Enugu states. And there is usually high vehicular movement, especially during the festivities. Also making Makurdi a hub for trade, commerce, cultural exchange and attraction. This proposed flyover will not only ease traffic congestion, which is usually experienced on this road, it will greatly enhance the flow of commerce movement and development. A few days ago, the geotechnical survey, which is crucial for the construction of the flyover, commenced. The survey is expected to provide essential information on subsurface conditions like rock properties, groundwater constitution, foundation depth, amongst others. This is so as to ascertain the right equipment and materials to be deployed for the use of the construction of the project. This will also ensure the flyover's safety, its stability and durability, while also saving costs and improving construction efficiency. Thank you. That's it from Makurdi. Over now for the continuation of Nationwide.
Yes, many positive developments there from your end, Simbiat. Many thanks for that update. More than ever before, it is time to pull down barriers and create spaces for inclusion where no one is left behind. First Lady Oluremi Tinubu stated this in her message marking this year's International Day of Social Justice. She calls on Nigerians to work together to bridge gaps and ensure that every citizen, especially from those who are marginalized, are empowered to succeed in life. Reflecting on the theme, empowering inclusion, bridging gaps for social justice, the First Lady affirms her commitment to a Nigeria where every citizen, regardless of gender, ethnicity, or socio-economic background, has an equal opportunity to thrive. We acknowledge and sincerely value your significant contributions to the development of our nation. Your experience, expertise, and commitment have been instrumental in fostering the growth and progress of the country. These remarks were made by Didi Esther Wilson-Jack, the head of the Civil Service of the Federation, during the second Executive Prospective Retirees Conference, which gathered over 800 civil servants from various ministries, departments and agencies. Haman Jabani reports.
When transitioning into retirement, often due to insufficient preparation, the sudden loss of income, social status, and sense of purpose can lead to anxiety, depression, and even financial hardship. This underscores the importance of this retirement training, which will equip civil servants with necessary skills. Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Didi Esther Wilson-Jack, emphasized the significance of the initiative, stating that it reflects the federal government commitment to the welfare of civil servants.
To sensitize them, begin to prepare them to determine what is that thing they would like to do when they actually retire, so that they can begin to go for training on that particular area they would like to specialize in.
Resource persons express confidence that the training will empower civil servants with necessary skills, knowledge, and mindset to navigate retirement with confidence and fulfillment.
There's a big difference between when you are in service and when you are out of service. The marketplace have no regard for your titles. What you don't know hurts you. So we just try to damage their ignorance beyond repairs so that they can actually retire well and retire strong.
The conference will address critical topics such as agripreneurship program, business startup, and financial management. Hamad Jabani, NTA News.
At the House of Representatives, members have constituted an ad hoc committee to probe alleged terrorism financing of Boko Haram activities by the United States Agency for International Development, USAID. The House, while adopting a motion of urgent national importance, also called for an investigation into activities of non-governmental organizations in Nigeria to ascertain their real identities and sources of funding.
The National Security Advisor, the Director General of the State Security Service, DSS, the Director of National Intelligence Agency, NIA, the Director of Defense Intelligence Agency, DIA, and Minister of Budget and Economic Planning to appear before the committee over allegations of funding to terrorist group by United States Agency for International Development, USAID.
Since 2009, why is it protracted? There must be some involvement of serious financing, because we know these people, they are ragtag. Where are they getting this money? Where are they getting these weapons?
Each time you will see at least 2 to 3 private jets parked there owned by NGOs. Most of the offices in Maiduguri are owned by NGOs. And Yobe, what are they doing there?
National Assembly correspondent Mitairi Ikben reports that the House also passed a resolution urging the Northeast Development Commission to reconstruct the road linking Meihulla to Wurbo and environs in Taraba State. U.S. Ambassador to Nigeria Richard Mills Jr. says the U.S. government stands with Nigeria in its quest to completely eliminate remnants of insurgents terrorizing parts of the country. This was after a closed-door meeting with members of the Nigeria Governors Forum in Abuja. Abubakar Akwanga reports.
It was the first physical meeting of the Nigerian Governors Forum in the year 2025, and the need to interact with the U.S. ambassador to Nigeria on burning issues of international concern dominated discussions during a closed-door session at the NGF Secretariat, and it is time to brief the media on the outcome of the deliberations that lasted several hours.
Or have policies and procedures in place to ensure that USAID funding, any of our assistance funding, whether it comes from USAID, the Department of Defense, the State Department, is not diverted to a terrorist group like Boko Haram. There is absolutely no evidence that I have seen that that has occurred. The new administration has put in a 90-day pause on our assistance. No assistance has been cut yet. No decisions have been made about the future of our assistance. In fact, Secretary Rubio has said, this is not about ending foreign assistance to our partners and friends like Nigeria. It's about how to make the assistance more effective and how to make sure that it aligns with U.S. government policies and interests.
The Nigerian Governors Forum, however, did not speak to journalists after the meeting, but there are strong indications that the outcome of the deliberations will be made known during the Council of State meeting scheduled for Thursday this week at the State House. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
Let's now join Mohammed Umar Ajingi for the next set of reports from Kaduna.
In Kaduna, Bayero University community in Kano State have assured President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of their unwavering support to his administration in its drive towards taking Nigerians' education to an enviable height. This assurance was given when the university community hosted to a reception the Minister of State for Education and 2 other professors appointed from the university to serve in different capacities in the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Sraj Abdullahi reports.
Since the inception of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration, the government is carefully selecting and bringing expertise on board to drive home the vision of the administration for Nigeria's prosperity. University professors are among the resources mobilized, out of whom 3 professors are from Bayero University, Kano. The Minister of State for Education, Professor Suwaiba Said Ahmad, Professor Salisu Shehu as the Executive Secretary, National Research and Development Council, and Professor Sadia Sani Daura as Director General, National Teachers Institute.
I just want to express our appreciation to the President and the federal government for recognizing Bayero University in this way.
This appointment excited Bayero University community, Kano, thus hosting the appointees to a reception not only to celebrate them, but as a way of saying thank you to President for carrying the university along. The appointees also took turn to reassure President of absolute loyalty and commitment in the discharge of their duties.
First, I would like to appreciate the President for finding me worthy for this appointment as the State Minister for Education. As someone that is moving from practice now to policy, I'm very familiar with what I'm dealing with. So for me, this experience that I've acquired in the 19 or 20 years that I've been working in the field of education, I'm going to use it to ensure that we develop initiatives and policies that will ensure that we change the narrative about education in Nigeria.
There were goodwill messages and prayers for the government to succeed. In Kaduna, Suraj Abdullahi, NTA News.
The Kaduna State government is making a headway in the implementation of plans for the right of persons living with disabilities in the state. The Commissioner for Human Services, Rabi Salisu, made this known at the first Kaduna State Disability Summit held here in Kaduna. Clement Olorutoba reports.
In a few days, the governor will be assenting to that implementation plan so that it can be rolled out for implementation.
This declaration by the Permanent Secretary, Ministry for Human Resources, Dr. Benjamin Tanko, set the tone for commencement of the first Disability Inclusion Summit in the state. 49-year-old Joseph Livingstone and Haruna Bogwan, 27, said the summit came at a time when persons living with disability are clamoring for inclusion, ranging from discrimination, employment, and empowerment.
Implementation to what we are expecting is this. Lay down your priorities and then implement them to make disability community comfortable.
If it's possible for the government to create environments where we can learn skills like data analysis, digital marketing, and other software programs.
The Executive Secretary, Disability Affairs Board, Haji Aweke Umar, said the state government is committed towards uplifting the standard of social status of the persons with disability in the state.
The state government is willing and ready to meet up the standard of the social status among the person with disability.
We are here to celebrate the resilience and determination of persons with disability.
A communique is expected at the end of the summit. Clement Olorutoba, NTA News.
And that's our contributions from this end. Nationwide continues with Charles Abba in Makuri.
Nigeria, ready to breathe cleaner air and save money? Let's talk about gas. Drive with CNG, the smart, cost-effective choice. Fill up for less and travel further. Save money, save the planet. Switch to LPG for cooking. It's cleaner.
We are glad that you could stay. This is Makudi. I'm Charles Abba. 13 members of the Benue State House of Assembly have been suspended for 3 months for allegedly casting aspersions and creating acrimony in the House. Assembly correspondent Grace Anyalewa Ichekwa reports.
The majority leader of the House, Sate Tise, in a motion had recalled that they had received complaints of allegation of the Chief Judge of Benue State, Justice Maurice Ikpambese, over allegation of gross misconduct, bribery, abuse of office, among others, which 23 members of the House had voted in favor of the recommendation for his removal. The majority leader said after the House had adopted the resolutions of the House, the 13 members, some of which voted in support of the recommendation to remove the Chief Judge, publicly went ahead to disassociate themselves from the process through a press conference. This action, the majority leader said, is capable of causing acrimony in the House and called for their suspension.
The House resolved that they should be suspended for 3 months.
They could have been honorable enough to tell the whole world that their party or certain figures in the state were pursuing them, so they needed to come back to account themselves so that they can, put the House into dispute. So that is what we are addressing this morning, and they are due for suspension.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian Bar Association Makudi branch has expressed concern over the alleged recommendation for the removal of the chief judge by the House. They said the House decision did not follow due process.
Since the above very basic requirements of the Constitution were not followed, and since the NBA seeks to promote the rule of law, we find it deeply troubling and unable to accept this absurdity. We wish to place on record that the NBA does not support fraud or any misconduct by any public officer.
In Makurdi, Grace Ichekpa, NTA News.
Away from assembly matters, a 10-day capacity building workshop has been organized for engineering staff under the Ministry of Works, Housing and Urban Development in Benue State. Regina Ngodo-Gigi reports that the workshop, which is spearheaded by the ministry, seeks to enhance capacity building and promote professionalism amongst engineers.
Infrastructural development has been the hallmark of the current administration of Governor Hyacinth Alia. This is evident in the massive rehabilitation, ongoing construction of flyover, renovation and construction of new office buildings and complex, among others. As the Ministry of Works, Housing and Urban Development is saddled with the responsibility of supervising most of the ongoing projects, this 10-day workshop becomes imperative so as to enhance performance of the field engineers.
Ensuring that engineers and technical personnel remain at the cutting edge of the practices in civil engineering. This commitment to human capital development sets a precedent that other states in Nigeria should emulate.
For the Commissioner of Works, Housing and Urban Development, Tiza Imojime, it is an opportunity for participants to better their career.
We are seated in this room to prepare ourselves for the smooth takeoff of our own lab in the state. I think it's so big a thing.
You go to site and then you are supervising the contractor. We thought this facility is as good as you are going there as a spectator.
The commissioner and his team, alongside other guests, inspected the newly built state-of-the-art engineering laboratory at the ministry's complex. With the establishment of these engineering laboratories in Benue State, it will meet up global best practices for engineering requirements and also generate revenue for the state and country at large. In Makurdi, Regina Ngodo-Gigi, NTA News.
That report rounds off our contribution from Makurdi. Dennis, it's back to you.
Many thanks, Charles, and good to see you. Empowerment programs help people to be more creative and productive towards economic development of the country. As Nigeria's population continues to rise, some residents of Owerri, the Imo State capital, say it has become necessary for corporate bodies and well-meaning individuals to see it as a duty to always collaborate with the government to constantly uplift them teeming unemployed citizens through various empowerment programs for national economic development. Here is Kate Osumwa's report.
Successive governments have been initiating programs and policies to improve the socioeconomic life of the people, while the federal government, under the present administration, has rolled out programs aimed at supporting those in the agricultural sector and women, among others. The Imo State government is also making efforts to empower those in the state, especially youths, in the areas of education, skills acquisition, among others. Shmia Ezenwata, a 200-level blind student of law in Imo State University, Owerri, whose school fees for the session was paid by our foundation, speaks.
This kind of empowerment is the greatest so far. Bring in your money, invest in these youth.
Curtail some kind of things that is happening, most especially taking the younger ones out from the street and bringing down the criminality in the system.
The people are hopeful of the meaningful contributions to economic development by privileged members of the society.
And we now join Kate Osumwa for more on this. Hello, Kate. What can you tell us about empowerment programs where you are?
Good
to have me. Thanks for this session. From the report, you can understand that the blind student who was lucky to have his school fees paid by a foundation and others in the society call on the private sector to support the efforts of the government in human capital development by contributing meaningfully in the education sector through awarding of scholarships, organizing essay competitions, quiz competitions among students from primary to tertiary level with prizes. This, they say, will go a long way in supporting them to achieve academic success. They also called on the private sector to organize skills acquisition for beginners in the business with startup packs and giving them grants to ensure that they do well in their businesses and also pay back to the society by contributing meaningfully to the development of the country.
All right, Kate, many thanks for giving us that update. Now, following the ongoing political impasse in Osun State, the Oni of Ife, Obade Ogunwusi, has called on all political actors in the state to prioritize peace over personal ambitions. Oba Ogunwusi, who gave the advice while hosting Deputy British High Commissioner John Baxter at his palace, condemned the spate of violence that engulfed the state, reminding politicians that no one is bigger than the state. The monarch also urged all political warring factions in Osun State to sheath their swords for peace to reign. Mr. Baxter, in his remarks, expressed deep concern over the deteriorating security situation in Osun State. He urged the Oni of Ife and other stakeholders in the state to urgently take decisive steps to restore peace and tranquility for which the state is known for. Let's now get some stories in the world of sports.
The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, has expressed support for the soldiers who represented Nigeria at the 2025 Invictus Games in Canada, praising them as heroes. He emphasized that the event created by Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, holds significance beyond mere sports. He said this during a reception for the Armed Forces of Nigerian's contingent, which earned medals at the recently concluded Games in Vancouver, Canada. Team Nigeria, consisting of wounded and injured service members, achieved 1 gold, 2 silver and 4 bronze medals. The CDS highlighted this as a demonstration of the resilience, bravery and unwavering spirit of the personnel who have overcome physical and mental hurdles in their service.
That whatever it takes to raise the morale of our troops, we will do it, whatever the cost is, because we know once the troops see what we are doing with those that are injured, they will want to give their best because they know if anything happens to them, they will also be taken care of.
In other news, the Director General of the National Sports Commission, Bukola Olobade, has encouraged Nigeria's senior men's basketball team, the Tigers, to deliver a strong and dedicated performance during the final window of the Afro-Basket qualifiers in Libya. With the assistance of the NSC, the Nigerian Basketball Federation successfully arranged for the team to arrive in Tripoli for these critical qualifiers. The final 12-man squad for the qualifiers, led by Olympians Caleb Agada and Captain Ike Nwamu, will compete for a place in the Afro-Basket tournament. In volleyball, defending champions Kada Kings have advanced to the semi-finals of the 2025 President's Beach Volleyball Cup in Kaduna. The pair of Uche Austin and Peter Ibrahim from Kada Kings will compete alongside former champions Godwin Shikarao and Andrew Sunday from Wiki One, as well as teams from Nigerian Correctional Service and Anista VC at the twin courts of Muritala Mohammed Square in Kaduna. Lastly, with the sport in the Europa League's last 16 on the line, Roma will host Porto at the Stadio Olimpico for their second leg knockout playoff tonight. Bodo Glimt will also welcome FC20 back to Norway following a dramatic first leg, and Ajax will play against Union SG at the Johan Cruyff Arena. For sports update, Bright Ibuchu, NTA News.
And Bright's report concludes Nationwide. From me and all of us here, thank you for watching.